So following the draft, we are now going to look at each of the players that the Kansas City Chiefs have drafted in. Start with their first pick, Mansoor Delane, the cornerback. Chiefs traded to get this guy. So we're going to have a look at him. And I'm going to tell you my opinion on whether I think it was the right call to trade to move up in the draft to make sure they get this guy. Before we do that, do me a big favor and hit the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen there. Especially if you're a return reviewer, it means you like what you're seeing and you're not hitting subscribe. Just hit subscribe. It will really help me and it will help me promote this great game over here in the UK. So out of LSU in his last year at college, let's look at his stats. He had a 31.3 passer rating allowed. So that was second in his class. Had 0 touchdowns allowed, which is insane. He did not give a single touchdown, and that's on 357 snaps. So it's not like he didn't play that much. He played fucking loads and he gave away no touchdowns. His discipline was outstanding. He gave away no penalties in his last year. He had 2 interceptions in his last season, 8 total in his entire career. And in his last season, he had 13 passes defended. That is a career high. And he's a physical player, so he made 45 total tackles. And again, he had a lot of snaps. He started 40 games last season. He's probably the most NFL ready player in the draft, arguably. He's got really good man coverage. He's an ex-wrestler, so he's super duper physical. If we look at some of his cons, so he does have good speed, there's no doubt, but he is not the fastest. So chasing down some of the NFL's fastest deep threats might be a little bit of a sticking point for him. He's 6 foot and 190 pounds, but he hasn't got the greatest arm length in the world. So 50-50 way, he might come up a little bit short there. We'll have to wait and see. And he's the type of player that kind of like hunts the ball, right? So he kind of tries to jump in on short routes and against really high level opposition, to which there are loads in the NFL. There's loads of quarterbacks that can and most likely will exploit that. So those are the things he needs to work on. But he's got a lot of positives. And I do think this is a good pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. I do sometimes want, yeah, Trent McDuffie, right? And I know they freed cap space in getting rid of Trent McDuffie and getting a really good corner in to replace him at a lower financial outgoing. But, they did give up 2 picks, and I do wonder whether that will be important later in the season. Did I want them to get a corner straight away? You needed a corner. You needed to replace McDuffie, especially because they got rid of both their corners, both their starting corners, I should say. But I really wanted them to draft an offensive lineman first, someone like Moigoa. I got a little bit of kickback off this when I said that, but I still think that protecting Patrick Mahomes at the line was the most important thing. However, we did need a corner. We definitely needed a corner to replace McDuffie. So I am happy with the pick. I just don't know whether it was worth 2 draft picks. We're gonna have to find out, right? So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna look at some of his tape and see the type of player that we're looking at here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and press play here. So there he is pictured in the far of your screen. Ball gets thrown and he breaks down. Yeah, pretty well. Breaks down that pretty well. So here he goes here. He doesn't really get duped by kind of twitchy players. So when people create double moves and that, he doesn't really buy it very often. So another pass break up there. Here he is here. So the ball gets thrown. Did he intercept that? Yeah, that was one of his interceptions. Yeah, probably quite a bad throw, to be honest, but he was there, right? He did what he needed to do. Here's him with a deeper ball. Another interception. Pretty terrible throw, to be honest. Probably a bad example there. But if you look at his positioning here, yeah, just overthrown that one, wasn't it? So there are probably some better examples of his defensive play. The very first one was probably the best example that we've seen so far. Those last 2 were pretty poor throws. So there he is pictured at the top of your screen again. And that's what I was talking about. I'm going to pause it right there, actually. That's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. So he's a ball hawk, right? So he goes to the ball sometimes, just like that. And perhaps another quarterback could have exposed him there. That was a great play from him. I think he read what the quarterback was going to do and he got to the ball. And fair play, his tip led to an interception. However, you're going to see quarterbacks in the NFL who will exploit that type of play. Let's carry on here. Yeah, so we're going to show you that again. Straight to the ball. He's hunting the ball and he does great. He does a great job in tipping that. But again, potential exposure there. Here's the next play. broke that play up really well. Sticky man coverage, stayed with his man really well here. Hopefully we're gonna see this replay. Yeah, here we go. There he is. And he stuck to the guy like glue. It was a pretty good throw, but difficult to catch when someone's on you like that, and didn't give away a penalty. He didn't give away a penalty there. Let's do one more. Again, that was, read the play, knew where the ball was going to go, broke up the pass. So watch him here. Yeah, that's the type of player that you're going to get. So ultimately, Trent McDuffie would have been a really big miss. I do think this guy's going to fill that gap created by Trent McDuffie, and obviously a huge relief in the salary cap. But they went the route of getting a corner first. I think it was a good choice. I think the Chiefs have got a great replacement for Trent McDuffie here. But what do I know? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're enjoying the videos, don't forget to give it a like, and please hit the subscribe button there.